It was still dawn when the ancient sage awoke with his heart racing. There was no real danger, just the familiar echo of an anxiety that had haunted him since his youth. At 80, after decades of studying the Taoist masters, he finally understood. Fear was not his enemy. It was his most subtle teacher. There's an ancient gesture, as simple as breathing, that Taoist masters kept secret. A body movement that instantly reorders the nervous system and calms the mental storm. It's not magic. It's neuroscience applied to ancient wisdom. And today, you'll discover why millions of people live imprisoned by their own fears when the key to liberation is within their reach. My name is Marcus, and for 20 years I've been studying how to translate ancient wisdom to modern dilemmas. What you're about to learn has changed my relationship with anxiety forever. But first, I need to tell you about the most counterintuitive discovery I've made. Trying to overcome fear is the biggest mistake you can make. If you feel your chest tighten when facing important decisions, if anxiety paralyzes your dreams, or if fear of the future steals your peace in the present, this video was made for you. But be prepared. What I'm about to reveal goes against everything you've been taught about courage. Axiom Sage, timeless wisdom from the East to transform your mind and spirit. You've probably experienced this scenario. You're lying in bed at 3 a.m., your mind racing, creating catastrophic scenarios for tomorrow. Your heart races, your hands sweat, and then comes that familiar inner voice whispering, what if I fail? What if I don't succeed? What if they judge me? Fear doesn't just invade your mind. It invades your body, hijacks your breath, and turns possibilities into prisons. Maybe it's the fear of making a life-changing decision, or the anxiety of expressing your true feelings. It could be the terror of starting that project you've been putting off for months, or the paralysis of a difficult conversation that needs to happen. Fear wears 1,000 masks, but its essence remains the same. It convinces us that we are smaller than our challenges. Here's the first secret I discovered studying Lao Tzu. Fear was never about the future. It's about the present. It's about the physical sensation of vulnerability we feel right now, in this moment, when we imagine scenarios that may never happen. Your body can't distinguish between real danger and imagined danger. To your nervous system, the anxiety of an important presentation is as real as running away from a predator. And that's precisely why the traditional approach fails miserably. We try to fight fear with logic, tell ourselves be brave, take a deep breath, and wait for the storm to pass. But there's a disturbing truth I need to share with you. The more you try to push fear away, the more power you give it. It's like trying to push your own shadow away. You'll get tired, but it will still be there. Taoist masters discovered something revolutionary over 2,000 years ago. They realized there's a way to dance with fear that instantly transforms it from tormentor to ally. And this transformation begins with a simple gesture you can do right now, sitting right where you are. But before I reveal it, I need to show you why everything you've learned about courage may be sabotaging your own liberation. How many times have you tried to be strong and felt like you were just faking it? Write in the comments. 1 if it was a few times, 2 if it was often, or 3 if you feel this way constantly. Because what I'm going to reveal in the next few minutes will explain why strength isn't the opposite of fear, surrender is. Once upon a time, there was a man tormented by his own shadow. Every morning, when he saw that dark form projected on the ground, he was reminded of his fears, his weaknesses, everything he wanted to hide from the world. Determined to rid himself of it forever, he began to run. He ran for hours, looking back, hoping the shadow would fall behind. But the faster he ran, the faster the shadow followed. Exhausted, he ran even harder until his legs gave out and he collapsed to the ground, panting and defeated. It was then that he noticed something extraordinary. As he lay down in the shade of a tree, his own shadow had disappeared. Not because he had defeated it, but because he had stopped running from it. This Taoist parable reveals the fatal trap most of us fall into. We believe courage is the absence of fear. We build our identity around the idea that strong people are fearless, that success means never hesitating, never doubting. But this is a dangerous illusion that keeps us prisoners of a battle that cannot be won. Think about the last time you felt truly afraid. Perhaps a risky professional decision, a conversation about ending a relationship, or simply the anxiety of stepping out of your comfort zone. What did you do? If you're like most people, you tried one or more of these strategies that seem logical but ultimately backfire. You try to rationalize your fear, mentally listing all the reasons why it was irrational. You took several deep breaths, waiting for the feeling to pass. Perhaps you repeated positive affirmations or tried to convince yourself you were stronger than this. Or you did the opposite. You avoided the situation altogether, postponed the decision, and found excuses not to act. Here's the cruel truth no one tells you. Each of these strategies reinforces fear. When you try to rationalize, you're telling your nervous system that there really is something to fear. Why else would you waste energy trying to convince yourself otherwise? When you take a deep breath trying to control your anxiety, you're sending the signal that there's an emergency that needs to be managed. And when you avoid it, you confirm to your primitive brain that the danger was real. Modern neuroscience confirms what the Taoists discovered intuitively. Fear originates in the amygdala, a primitive brain structure that processes emotions in milliseconds, long before your prefrontal cortex, your rational mind, even has time to assess the situation. This means that when fear arises, your body is already on high alert before you even think about being afraid. It's like a hypersensitive fire alarm that goes off at the slightest hint of smoke. You can scream at the alarm, you can try to force it off, you can even pretend you can't hear it. But none of this solves the real problem. The system is still in emergency mode. And while it is, your access to creativity, mental clarity, and genuine presence remains blocked. But there's a third option most people never consider, an approach Lao Tzu described as Wu Wei, action through non-action. It's the art of moving with the natural force of things rather than against it. And when applied to fear, this philosophy reveals something surprising. You don't need to conquer fear to be brave. You need to dance with it. Take 30 seconds now to observe. What do you feel fear in your body when you're anxious? Is it in your chest, your stomach, your shoulders? Just observe without trying to change anything. This simple, non-judgmental observation is the first step in the Taoist transformation you're about to learn. The true Taoist secret to dealing with fear isn't in the mind, it's in the body. While we spent years trying to conquer our fears through thought, the ancient masters discovered that the body can teach the mind a completely different way of existing. And this happens through a simple gesture you can do right now. First, let me reveal the 3 fundamental pillars of this ancient approach. The pillar of physical acceptance. Fear is first a bodily sensation, then a thought. When you try to fight the sensation, you're fighting life itself moving through you. The Taoists discovered that accepting the physical sensation of fear, the racing heart, the shallow breath, the tightness in the chest, paradoxically reduces its intensity. It's like holding a wounded animal. The gentler you are, the more quickly it calms down. The pillar of conscious breathing. Lao Tzu said that the space between inhalation and exhalation is where the Tao dwells. There is a specific way of breathing that communicates safety directly to your nervous system, without needing to convince your mind of anything. It's not just taking a deep breath. It's a precise technique that activates your vagus nerve and puts your body in a state of alert calm. The pillar of receptive posture. Here's the most powerful insight. There's a specific body position that sends safety signals to your brain. It's not a strength or power posture, as you might imagine. It's a posture of receptive openness that instantly transforms your internal chemistry. Let's start with posture. Wherever you are now, sitting, standing, lying down, adjust your body this way. Imagine there's a golden thread connected to the top of your head, gently pulling you upward. Don't force it. Just allow your spine to lengthen naturally. Now, open your chest, as if creating space for your heart to breathe. It's not a military chest-out movement. It's more subtle, as if you're making space within for something beautiful to enter. Release your shoulders. Really release them. You probably carry more tension there than you realize. And now, Here's the detail that makes all the difference. Slightly loosen your jaw. Let your tongue relax at the back of your mouth. This small change sends a powerful signal to your nervous system. There's no emergency here. Neuroscience explains why this works. When we're in a state of fear or anxiety, our bodies automatically contract. Shoulders tense, our jaw tightens, our breathing becomes shallow, and our chest tightens. This makes evolutionary sense. We're preparing to flee or fight. But when we consciously do the opposite movement, opening instead of closing, expanding instead of contracting, we send a clear message to our primitive brain: I am safe. It's like hacking your own operating system using the language your body understands: posture and breathing. You don't need to convince your mind that you're safe. You simply communicate safety through your body, and your mind naturally follows. Now comes the specific breathing the Taoists used. Inhale slowly through your nose, allowing the air to fill first your belly, then your chest. Pause for a brief moment. Don't hold your breath, just allow a natural pause. Then exhale through your mouth with a low sound, like a soft sigh, ah. This sound isn't just relaxing. It activates your vagus nerve, which is literally the on-off switch for your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest state. If this already resonates and you're feeling the difference in your body, subscribe to the channel now, because what comes next is the most powerful part: how to transform fear from an enemy into a compass. But first, I need to tell you about the most subtle mistake even people who know these techniques make. They use these practices to escape fear instead of dancing with it. And this difference changes everything. There was a fisherman who lived on the banks of a winding river. Every night, he had to navigate a section of the river that became completely dark, so dark that he couldn't even see his own hands. For years, he avoided fishing in that area, missing the best catches for fear of the darkness. Until one night, driven by necessity, he decided to press on despite his fear. What he discovered changed his understanding forever. Following the river in the dark, using only his intuition and the sound of the current, he found the source, the place from which all life in that river sprang. The fear of the darkness had actually been an invitation to discover the source. This ancient story reveals a profound truth that Lao Tzu knew intimately. Fear is not an obstacle on the path. Fear is the path pointing us to where we need to go. If you've made it this far in this video, you're part of a select group of people who truly seek transformation, not just temporary relief. Most give up when the conversation gets deeper, when they need to truly look within. But you stuck with it. That says something important about who you are and the potential you carry. Now I can share with you the most counterintuitive wisdom I've learned from studying the Taoist masters. Fear is a navigation system. Each specific fear you experience points precisely to the area of your life that is calling for growth, expansion, and transformation. It's no coincidence that you fear the very things that matter most to you. Think about it. You don't fear things that are irrelevant to your life. You don't get anxious about situations that don't touch your deepest values. Fear arises when something truly important is at stake, when there's the possibility of real growth, genuine connection, and authentic expression. Fear is your internal system telling you, pay attention, this is important, this could change your life. Alan Watts, who dedicated his life to translating Eastern wisdom to the West, said something beautiful. Life is an act of trust, a leap into the void. But what he didn't explicitly say is that emptiness isn't dangerous. Emptiness is full of possibilities. It's the space where anything can be born. The Taoists had a profound understanding of this. They observed how bamboo moves in a storm, not trying to resist the wind, but dancing with it. The bamboo remains rooted, but bends completely, allowing the force of the storm to pass through it without breaking. This is the perfect metaphor for our relationship with fear, remaining rooted in our essence, yet flexible enough to move with the energy of fear rather than against it. When you do the Taoist gesture I taught you, opening your chest, relaxing your shoulders, releasing your jaw, you are literally assuming the bamboo pose. You are saying, I feel you, fear. You can move through me. I will not break. There's a fundamental difference between courage and the absence of fear. Courage isn't about not feeling fear. Courage is about feeling fear fully and choosing to move toward what matters anyway. It's the difference between being a rigid warrior who can break and being like water that finds its way through any obstacle. Lao Tzu wrote, "Nothing in the world is softer than water, yet nothing surpasses it in attacking what is hard and strong." When you stop fighting fear and learn to move with it, you discover that it carries a powerful energy, an energy that can be channeled into action, into growth, into transformation. What I'm about to reveal will seem paradoxical, but it's the key to it all. The fear you feel today is the same energy you'll feel as excitement and vitality when you learn to dance with it. The physical sensation is nearly identical: heart racing, increased energy, heightened alertness. The difference lies only in your interpretation and your internal attitude toward the experience. Now I'm going to share with you a daily practice that can gradually but permanently transform your relationship with fear. This isn't an emergency technique to use only when panic strikes. It's a 3-step ritual that reconnects you with your natural courage every day. Step 1. The art of naming every morning or whenever you feel anxiety rising. Pause and complete this sentence quietly. I feel afraid of, and name specifically what you're afraid of. Don't say, I'm stressed or I'm anxious. Be precise. I feel afraid of disappointing my partner in this conversation, or I feel afraid of not being able to accomplish this project. Neuroscience has discovered something fascinating. When we name an emotion, we activate our prefrontal cortex, the most evolved part of the brain, and simultaneously reduce activity in the amygdala, where fear is processed. It's literally like turning on a light in a dark room. Fear doesn't disappear, but it loses its power to unconsciously control us. Step 2. The gesture of receptivity. Immediately after naming your fear, perform the complete Taoist gesture you learned. Spine elongated as if a golden thread were pulling you upward, chest open, creating space for your heart, shoulders relaxed, and jaw loose. Hold this posture for at least 3 deep breaths. This is not a gesture of strength or power over fear. It is a gesture of receptivity, of creating internal space for fear to move through you without getting stuck. As Lao Tzu said, the wise man attempts nothing and therefore fails to achieve nothing. Step 3. The breath that transforms. Maintain the posture of receptivity and breathe in the specific way the Taoists used. Inhale slowly through your nose, allowing the air to fill first your belly, then your chest. Pause briefly. Exhale through your mouth with a low sound like ah, allowing all tension to dissolve with the exhalation. Do this for 3 to 5 breaths, noticing how the intensity of the fear changes. You're not trying to make the fear disappear. You're learning to dance with it, to move with its energy instead of against it. What makes this practice powerful is not its intensity, but its consistency. 3 minutes a day of this mindful practice has more transformative power than hours of mentally battling your fears. It's like learning a new language. Fluency comes through gentle, consistent repetition, not forced effort. An important finding: you can use this sequence not only when fear arises, but also preemptively, as a way to strengthen your natural ability to be present in the face of uncertainty. Many people who practice this regularly report that they begin to experience anxiety as a neutral sensation, just energy in motion, rather than something that needs to be avoided or fought. Which of these 3 steps resonates most with you? And how do you plan to incorporate this into your routine? Share in the comments. Your experience may inspire others on the same transformational path, but there's still something crucial I need to reveal. So far, we've talked about how to deal with fear when it arises, but there's a deeper dimension to this Taoist wisdom: how to use fear as a compass to discover your true path in life. And this is only possible when you understand the difference between genuine fear and conditioned fear. Let's return to the wise man walking in the woods at dawn, with whom we began this journey. When he stopped before the shadow on his path, something extraordinary happened. Instead of avoiding it or trying to push it away, He approached it, and as he got closer, he discovered that the shadow wasn't a threatening presence. It was merely the reflection of a magnificent tree growing behind him, a tree he had never noticed because he was always looking ahead. This is the ultimate revelation about fear. It always shows us something important about ourselves that we're failing to see. Fear of rejection reveals our deep desire for authentic connection. Fear of failure reveals our passion to achieve something meaningful. Fear of death reveals how intensely we desire to live fully. When you practice the Taoist gesture, opening your chest, relaxing your shoulders, loosening your jaw, breathing consciously, you're not just managing anxiety. You're creating inner space to see what fear really wants to show you. You're learning the language your soul uses to draw your attention to what truly matters. The synthesis of everything we discovered today can be summarized in 3 simple steps that transform fear into clarity. First, when fear arises, name it specifically. I am afraid of. This brings the fear out of the shadow of the unconscious and into the light of consciousness. Second, immediately assume the Taoist posture of receptivity. Your body becomes a temple of calm where fear can move without causing destruction. Third, breathe consciously as you watch your fear transform. Not to make it disappear, but to dance with its energy until you discover its message. The most beautiful paradox of this practice is that when you stop fighting fear, it naturally reveals its true nature. It's not an enemy, it's a messenger. A messenger that always points you in the direction of growth, expansion, and the fuller life that's trying to emerge through you. The truth most people never discover is that courage isn't a permanent state. Courage is a choice you make moment by moment, breath by breath. It's the decision to open your heart even when it wants to close, to move toward what matters even when your legs want to run in the opposite direction. Lao Tzu said something profound that echoes through the centuries. He who knows fear knows himself. He who knows himself fears no more. Not because fears disappear, but because they become allies on the path of self-knowledge. As the mystical poet Rumi said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." Your fear is not evidence of weakness. It is evidence that you are alive, awake, engaged with life. It is evidence that something important is trying to be born through you. Most people will watch this video, feel a momentary inspiration, and then fall back into old patterns of fighting or running away from their fears. But you can be different. You can be the person who chooses to see fear as a teacher, not a tyrant. Your first step is simple. Today, whenever you feel any form of anxiety or apprehension, remember this Taoist gesture. Open your chest, relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and breathe consciously. Not to overcome fear, but to walk with it. To discover what it wants to teach you about who you really are and what you truly want. If this video changed your perspective, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because in future videos, we'll explore how to apply this Taoist wisdom to other areas of life: relationships, purpose, money, and spirituality. And if you felt a real transformation watching this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. The path to wisdom isn't about eliminating life's challenges. It's about transforming your relationship with them. And when you learn to dance with fear, you discover that it has always been your partner, not your adversary, in the extraordinary dance of becoming who you truly are. May your journey be blessed with the courage to feel, the wisdom to understand, and the love to accept all that you are, including your deepest fears. They are, after all, the guardians of your most precious treasures.